Just completing a DHA obviously does not improve the safety of a plant, but it's a great first step. The most important part is to take the results of the DHA, take the recommendations that you developed while you're completing a DHA, and put those to use. The first step in using the results of the DHA is to prioritize the recommendations. So the way to prioritize a DHA is to look at where is the greatest risk. And that's going to be a combination of how likely is an event and what is the severity of the event. So you judge those two things to come up with the level of risk. And when you come up with priorities, you'll look at a few things. So obviously the highest risk are going to be a priority. Also, things that are easy to implement and things that you can do quickly might be a priority, because that way you can be working towards your goal of making the plant safer and keeping your employees safe. Oftentimes you'll end up with two different kinds of recommendations from a DHA. You'll have administrative controls that will deal with how you manage the hazards internally, from housekeeping, from preventative maintenance, and from educating employees. Things like that. If employees are educated and they know what to look for, they can spot a potential hazard before it elevates to an actual event. The other type of control is going to be engineering controls. Those can involve ignition source controls as well as explosion protection. Examples of ignition source control may be temperature monitoring, bearing monitoring, spark detection and suppression systems. Some type of explosion protection controls might be deflagration venting, suppression, and isolation. So once you have your recommendations listed out, you'll want to come up with an action plan. So you want to say what time frame do we need to address these hazards by? Obviously, if you found a critical hazard, you want to address that as soon as possible. And this might require buy-in from various stakeholders. So you have engineering, you have operations, and obviously you have to worry about financial considerations. So to come up with a strategy that the entire operation can get behind is important. What you don't want to do is have recommendations outstanding and no plan of action. And sometimes it might be hard to determine what is the highest priority and what's the best way to address a hazard. This will be the time where you'd want to reach out to experts such as Fike Corporation to help you design the protection and engineering controls that are needed to safeguard your systems.